Welcome. Today we are diving into the present levels of academic achievement and functional performance, also known as PLAAFP. This is an important section of the Individualized Education Program, or the IEP. This section sets the foundation of the IEP because it provides the IEP team with a picture of your child right now. When families understand the PLAAFP, they can speak up with confidence and help shape a strong plan. Your voice matters. You can provide valuable information the IEP team needs to ensure your child's IEP is individualized to meet their specific needs. The information shared in this video is a general overview of the PLAAFP and will not discuss specifics for every individual viewing this video. For individualized support and guidance, please feel free to contact us on our website at parentsreachingout.org, via telephone at 505-247-0192, or via email at info@parentsreachingout.org. You can pause, rewind, and skip ahead at any time. This video was recorded so you can return to it whenever you need to. Take a moment to get your child's IEP document so you can follow along. Please feel free to take notes. And as a disclaimer, the information shared today is meant to be helpful and informative, but is not meant to take the place of legal or medical advice. Today, we will talk about the present levels of academic achievement and functional performance, also known as a PLAAFP. We'll learn about what it requires, why it matters, what information belongs in the section, and how it is included in other sections of the IEP document. You will also learn how your input is important in this section and how you can provide your own data based on your personal observations, which will help strengthen your child's IEP. So starting off, what are the present levels of academic achievement and functional performance? These are the foundations of the IEP. It is a statement of your child's present levels. It's based on the current information from a variety of sources, which includes family, your input. It provides the IEP team with a snapshot of how your child is doing at one moment in time. It is a required part of every IEP. It includes academic levels, which describes how your child is doing in reading, writing, and other school subjects. It includes functional skills, which explains how your child manages everyday school tasks like communication, behavior, organization, and social skills. And it highlights your child's strengths and needs, what your child does well, and what they need help with. This information must be included in the IEP and is required under the Individuals with Disability Education Act, or IDEA. The PLAAFP sets the foundation for the IEP and is the data the school uses for goals, services, accommodations, and modifications. Why PLAAFP is needed in the IEP? PLAAFP is important in the IEP because it helps the IEP understand what your child needs right now so they can build a plan that truly supports learning and growing. It helps the team identify and prioritize your child's specific needs by focusing on the most important needs that affects your child's learning. It shows that what your child needs help with first so that the IEP can target the right areas. It also establishes your child's baseline for learning. It gives them a starting point by showing how your child is performing compared to grade level expectations. The baseline helps them create goals that are meaningful, realistic, and measurable. It also matches your child's skills to the classroom environment. It looks at how well your child's skills fit the current classroom. This helps the team decide what supports, accommodations, or changes are needed so your child can learn successfully. This information helps the team make good decisions that meet your child's specific needs. A strong PLAAFP helps the team understand your child's specific needs, set meaningful and achievable goals that make sense, and helps them choose the right service and supports. The PLAAFP explains what your child needs, where they are starting, and what kind of learning environment will help them grow. It is the foundation for building a strong, individualized IEP. If the PLAAFP is weak, the rest of the IEP will not work. If the PLAAFP is vague or weak, the rest of the IEP becomes unclear. This section drives the whole plan. So there are different parts of the PLAAFP. The major parts of the IEP all connect back to the PLAAFP. Those parts include, of course, the present levels of academic achievement and functional performance. It includes special factors, the individualized education program goals, specially designed instruction and service time, accommodations and modifications, and transition. When the present levels are clear, the goals, services, and supports become clearer. And we will be discussing each of these components separately. So first, we'll start out with the PLAAFP. So the present level components. So a strong PLAAFP includes current performance, how the disability affects learning, and baseline data, which is, again, your child's starting point. Without these pieces, goals can't be measured. So for under current performance data, this tells you how your child is doing right now in academics and everyday school skills. The impact of disability explains how your child's disability affects learning, behavior, communication, or participation in class. It helps the team understand what challenges your child faces during the school day. The baseline data provides the starting point for each area where your child needs support. It shows what your child can do so the team can set goals that are clear and understandable. Current performance data. So key parts of the current performance data are your child's strengths, parent-child concerns, the evaluation results, academic, developmental, and functional needs. Current performance data tells the team what your child is good at, what concerns needs attention, what the evaluations show, and what your child needs help with so they can build a strong individualized plan. Your voice matters here. As part of the IEP team, your input is important and must be considered. Current performance data in regards to academics. When writing the present level section of the IEP, it should include anything that affects how your child is doing right now in school subjects like reading, writing, and math, even if it isn't directly part of the grade level curriculum. This helps everyone understand your child's unique academic needs. It highlights your child's academic strengths. It notes academic concerns that may be affecting progress. It includes information that impacts learning, such as work completion, attending during lessons, or difficulty understanding grade level mastery. This section is the starting point for identifying what academic supports your child needs, and will get more specific about each academic concern and how it affects your child's performance. So some examples of the information included may be academic strengths, what your child does well in reading, writing, math, or other subjects, parent concerns about academics, what families notice about schoolwork or learning, test scores. These are results from state, district, or classroom assessments, screening and progress data. This is information that shows how your child is improving over time. Instructional preferences, how your child learns best, whether it's visual, hands-on, in small group settings, etc. It also discusses the learning rate, how quickly your child learns new academic skills. It provides academic strengths and weaknesses, areas where your child shines and areas where they need support. To have a meaningful part in this section, remember, you can bring your own data too. In the resource section of this video, you will find additional resources that will help you understand the power of data and how you can use it to help advocate for your child. Academic achievement describes how your child is doing in school subjects compared to grade level standards. It includes anything that affects how well your child learns or performs in class. For younger children, the general curriculum means the typical activities that children their age usually do. For older children, the general curriculum means the grade level academic standards and coursework they are expected to complete, such as reading complex texts, writing essays, solving multiple step problems, participating in science labs, or meeting graduation requirements. The team may also include past academic performance if it still affects how your child is doing right now. Functional performance describes how your child manages the everyday activities of life, not just academics. It shows how your child communicates, moves around, behaves, and interacts with others during normal routines at school and at home. It includes communication, how your child expresses their needs, understands others, and uses language. It also includes mobility, how your child moves safely and independently in different settings, behavior skills, how your child follows rules, manages emotions, and stays on task, social skills, how your child interacts with peers and adults, daily living skills, how your child handles everyday tasks like organizing materials, managing personal needs, or following routines. These are just as important as academics. Current performance data as it relates to behavior. For a child who has behavior or emotional concerns, the current academic performance and functional performance should be help understand how they are doing right now. With academic performance, this includes strengths and weaknesses in each area, as discussed earlier, such as academic assessment results, scores for classroom, district, or state tests, learning rate, how quickly your child learns new skills, response to interventions, how well your child improves when given extra help. This includes information about how your child's everyday routines, such as and this is the functional performance piece, social emotional rating scales, tools that show how your child feels or behaves, observations of task refusal, times when your child avoids or refuses work, test anxiety. Does your child have strong nervousness during tests? Does your child have difficulty speaking in groups, meaning they're having trouble talking in front of others? It also includes any challenges interacting with peers. These are the problems working or playing with other students. With the impact of disability, this area explains how the disability affects learning and progress in the general education curriculum. It's not enough to name the disability. The team needs to describe what it looks like in class. When the IEP team understands this impact, they can decide the right type and amount of specialized instruction your child needs to make progress. Simply saying a child has a disability is not enough. For example, saying Barry has a disability in reading does not explain how it affects him. Two students with the same disability can have very different needs. One might struggle with sounding out words, while the other might read the words but not understand what they mean. The impact statement makes these differences clear so the team can plan the right supports. So some questions teams may consider when determining the impact. So when the IEP team is figuring out how your child's disability affects their learning, they may think about these questions. Why isn't your child making progress? What is getting in the way of meeting grade level standards? What access to their access to grade level material? Can your child read instructions, textbooks, and assignments, or do they need audiobooks or material read aloud? What does this disability look like in class? Is your child acting out, looking around for help, sitting alone, off task, or interrupting? Differences from same age peers, how your child's learning or behavior compares to other students their age. They'll also look at, can your child keep pace with class? Do they understand the teacher's instruction and follows lessons at the same speed as their peers? How the disability affects access to the curriculum. What parts of learning become harder because of the disability? Comprehension of material. Can your child understand what is being read or taught? So those are some important questions that the team and yourself have to consider. Baseline data. So baseline and current performance data gives a clear starting point for writing measurable, meaningful goals. This information shows exactly where your child is performing right now. Baseline data should be current, based on your child's most recent performance. It also needs to be specific. It needs to include clear details, not vague statements. It needs to be measurable. meaning it uses numbers or observable behaviors that can be tracked. It needs to be directly connected to your child's annual goals. That data should match the goal that will be addressed during the school year. Teams should choose data that most accurately reflects your child's current level of functioning in each academic and functional area. It ensures goals are realistic, individualized, and based on real evidence. Current and baseline performance data. It uses the data that is already collected regularly and that connects with grade level standards. Schools use many types of data such as test, observation, checklist, progress monitoring, and more. They may consider parent and teacher input. What adults notice about your child's learning? Student strengths and weaknesses, areas where your child does well and areas where they need support. General classroom observations, what the teacher sees during everyday activities. Child's interests and learning styles, what motivates your child and how they learn best. Report cards, grades, and teacher comments. Statewide assessments, how your child performs on state tests. Standardized assessments, formal tests that show skill levels. You can bring your own data too to provide as part of your parent input. This can include academic, behavioral, medical, observational, and personal insights. Some examples of observational include how long homework takes for your child when you're working with them at home. What tasks are hardest or easiest? What behaviors like frustrations, avoidance, or anxiety show up when they are completing homework at home? What times of days does your child struggle? Or what times of the day does your child succeed? These observations help the team understand patterns that may not show up at school. For personal insights, some data for learning and behavior can include strengths that you see at home, any concerns you have about reading, writing, math, or organization, emotional, social challenges you see, what motivates your child, and what works well at home. You can also include input from your child, such as what helps them learn, what makes your child's school day hard, what are their goals and interests, what accommodations does your child feel they need. And this helps the team build a plan that matches your child's real experiences. You can provide that information, or you can help your child prepare to share that information themselves. Teaching your child self-advocacy skills early will help them learn how to advocate for their own needs. When both sides share information, the PLAAFP becomes stronger and more accurate. Now we're moving on to special factors. These are the areas that must be considered for every child, which includes vision, hearing, communication, English language needs, assistive technology needs, and behavior. Even if your child does not have needs in these areas, the team must still discuss them. The individualized education goals. The importance of goals. Goals come directly from the PLAAFP. If the PLAAFP is clear, the goals will be clear. If the PLAAFP is vague, the goals will be vague. That's why this section is so important. The PLAAFP must include enough clear data so that the team can create challenging, measurable goals, decide what special education services, related services, accommodations, modifications your child needs to make progress in the general education classroom. If the IEP team does not clearly describe your child's current levels, does not set a good baseline for goals, or does not include parents in the process, your child may be denied a free, appropriate public education, also known as FAPE. Specially designed instruction and service time. Specially designed instruction is what teachers do differently to help your child learn. It changes the way your child is taught so it fits their needs. This can include changing what is taught, the content, how it is taught, the teaching methods, how lessons are delivered, the format or support. The changes are made to address your child's unique needs that come from their disability, give your child access to the general education curriculum so they can work toward the same learning standards as their peers, teaching your child in a way that helps them learn and succeed like everyone else, Service time is the amount of special education or related services your child receives. It explains how often your child gets the services, how long each session lasts, where the services happens, whether it's in a general education classroom, in a small group setting, etc., what type of instruction or support your child gets. Service time is a schedule of support that helps your child work toward the IEP goals. Specially designed instruction is extra teaching beyond regular classroom lessons, a service provided to your child, what a teacher does to teach skills your child does not have yet. It helps your child learn specific skills they need to reach their IEP goals, access and make progress in the general education curriculum, close the learning gap between them and their grade level peers. It is individualized, designed just for your child, based on standards aligned with their IEP goals, created to help your child move toward grade level expectations, specialized teaching that helps your child learn what they need so that they can succeed in the general education classroom. Specially designed instruction is not a placement for regular classroom teaching or a replacement, for regular classroom teaching. It does not take the place of core instruction. It is not a place. It is not a classroom or location. It is not something that your child does. It is what the teacher does, not your child. It is not a repeat of grade level standards. It is not just restating what the class is already learning. It is not a store-bought program. It's not just simply using a commercial curriculum. It's not a schedule. It is not a set time or routine by itself. And it is not an excuse for low expectations. It cannot be used to teach below grade level or avoid giving your child access to grade level content. Now we're moving on to accommodations and modifications. Accommodations help your child access the same learning as peers. Accommodations do not change the expectation for learning, reduce the requirements of the task, or change what your child is required to learn. Modifications change what your child is expected to learn and reduce the requirements of the task. These supports must connect back to the needs described in the PLAAFP. Transition. In the transition section, it describes how your child is currently doing in the areas that matter for life after high school. This information helps guide planning for college, work, and independent living. This section includes parent and or child input, what your child wants for the future and what families notice, present levels of performance, results from age-appropriate transition assessments that show skills, interests, and readiness. It includes strengths, what your child does well that will support future goals, concerns or needs, areas where your child needs help to prepare for adult life, impact of the disability, how the disability affects your child's ability to participate in and make progress in the general education curriculum and in the future. This information creates a clear picture of where your child is now so the team can plan meaningful, individualized transition goals. In the state of New Mexico, for children ages 14 and older, the PLAAFP for transition should describe your child's strengths, needs, interests, and preferences as they relate to their post-secondary after high school goals. The information should be connected to key transition services such as instruction, what teaching or classes your child needs, related services, support like counseling, transportation, or therapy, community experiences, activities that help your child learn skills in real life settings, employment, your child's job interests, work skills, and needed supports, adult living objectives, skills for living independently after high school, daily living skills, how they'll manage their personal needs, money, times, or routines, independent living skills, skills for living on their own if appropriate, post-school training or education interests, what plans they have for college, training programs, or certifications. Teams should think about your child's current performance, what it shows about their needs right now, and what next steps will help your child be successful in reaching their goals after high school. So here are some great resources to review. Parents reaching out has several resources that can help you be a meaningful participant in the IEP process. For additional resources, please reach out to us. Our contact information is here for you to review and for you to have on file. Thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful day.